Nolan Wells never made it off that island. Nearly 2 months later, his case is still wide open, and new footage from that day just surfaced. Let's take a look.
Nolan and Wyatt's dad had a secret friendship that we weren't even in.
Yeah, they were like best friends.
We would go over to Wyatt's house, and Nolan, we would all be in the backyard, whatever, doing something, and Nolan would be inside on the couch with Wyatt's dad, and they would just be cutting it up all night.
Yeah, well,
Wait, text messages were just released between Nolan's mom and Warren that can answer a lot of questions. And I need you to, I'm gonna go through these text messages one by one. You tell me, did it look like somebody like Warren is trying to hide something, or does it look like he's being a true friend? Now, first of all, I thought that Nolan's dad showed up unannounced as the way, Warren and them told the story. Here's the text message, July 5th, 2 in the morning. Nolan's dad is out the house to pick up the key. Remember, he was trying to get the key from Jax. He said Jax couldn't find it, or it was taking forever. Then somebody else found it, and he didn't trust Jax after that. So then here's the next one. That day in the afternoon, hey Warren, what kind of sunglasses did Nolan wear? I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Mrs. Christine. This is Warren. Then Warren says, hey, Mrs. Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look, and I've been on and off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff's Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. She says, thank you. Warren says, we are all praying for your family. We appreciate it. Then it gets deeper. Now, right here, she asked Warren what boat he was on, or what boat Nolan was on. He says, Nolan went out on the 22 Triton offshore, and I was on the 24 tie line. I ain't heard much about the 24 tie line. On the way out, we were on separate boats. I went back on the Triton DMR, and the sheriff's office has all this information. Then if you look again, Monday, July 6th, 1:37 p.m., hey Warren, can you collect any of Nolan's items left at Jack's house? So it was still items after her father went there? I don't know. Then here's Warren again. Good morning, Miss Christine. I just wanted to let you know that my family and I have been praying for you and your family. Nolan was one of my best friends since we were in 8th grade together. You and Mr. Elmore raised one of the best men I've ever met. I wish I could be there today, but I would never want to take the attention off of your family and Nolan and be a distraction. Thank you for being the best parents that Nolan could have had. This was the day of the funeral, that Monday. Now, these are cut off. I want to know the full message up here, because this is where it seemed like it got a little spicy. It appears Miss Christine, Nolan's mom, said exactly where you saw him last. I'm sorry, I am asking you to repeat this. 3 p.m. west tip, north side of Horn Island. Where did you guys launch from? He sent the location. And I don't know why this is blurred out. We launched the boats yesterday evening and left from here this morning.
Star Nolan Wells has an altercation witness emerged. A witness that claims she saw an altercation at Horn Island. Hey, let's pull up that video, control room, of everyone getting on the boat before they went to Horn Island. It's very interesting, evidentiarily. Okay, here we go. This was from the Officer Tatum show, and you're about to see people. There they are down at the right, and there's actual video of people see the boat at about 1 o'clock. Oh, there we go. Excellent shot, guys. People are getting on, people getting off, and it keeps going to where you see everybody that got on the boat.
Secret Service Sam here, and Christine Walmsley is subpoenaing the hell out of them right now. She has filed a series of legal subpoenas targeting social media, technology, and marine service companies to investigate her son's final movements and communications surrounding his death. Now, social media and tech companies, as we know, she filed in Jackson County Chancery Court. The initial subpoenas target Meta, Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, Snap, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and the tracking app Life360 to secure GPS logs, messages, and deleted content. Marine and dispatch records. Additional subpoenas target Marine services, including Tow and Ward Marine, requesting dispatch logs, radio recordings, and communications tied to the July 4th incident. Now, the family's legal team is seeking clarity after reporting discrepancies in location tracking and concerns over wiped or deleted messages from his phone. So in layman's term, thank God we are going to find out what happened on those Tow logs. We're going to get all the recorded calls. We're going to find out who's on it. I'd like to find out who that park ranger is. Can we subpoena the park ranger? Thank God for the team, the dream team as we're calling them, because now we are going to get some answers that they have not wanted to give us. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president of the world.
We have a Nolan Wells update. It is now December 19th, and we finally heard from the District Attorney of Jackson County, Mississippi. So District Attorney Mickelrath finally sends out an actual press release letter dated for August 18th. And it's very long-winded. I'm going to read it to you guys, but I'm going to give you a quick little synopsis of what it states. It mainly says I cannot send letters out like the legal teams can do. I cannot put information out there to the public like the other legal teams have to do. There's certain laws that I have to abide by. There's certain ethics and codes I have to abide by. Please let this investigation be thorough and please let us do what we need to do. I am going to be giving this to the grand jury and let the grand jury make the decision on this case. That's essentially what it says, but I'm going to read it to you guys anyways. As you can see, here is the press release statement from District Attorney Angel Myers Mickelrath to the people of Jackson County, Mississippi. And it states, as District Attorney, I do not have the same freedom to share information publicly that private individuals may have. A little bigger there. For example, I do not have the freedom to release letters I've sent in the investigation, discuss witness cooperation, or testing of the evidence. I do not have the freedom to identify what information is fact over another, nor do I control the information released by private individuals who are not part of the investigative team. I cannot control whether private individuals release letters they have sent me, just as I cannot prevent them from releasing letters that I've sent them. What it seems like she's saying here is that I can't control what you guys are hearing and seeing and reading from Nolan Wells' legal team. She also said I cannot control which facts or bits of information are shared or whether information is being shared in context, twisted, or misconstrued. Public commentary does not make the speaker transparent, just like exercising restraint consistent with the laws does not make a person or a process corrupt. The fact that something is said does not necessarily mean it's true. Next, prosecutors are held to the highest level of ethical standards of the law as it should be. People deserve no less. I understand that a void is perceived when some are speaking publicly about a matter while others do not. I would be stepping outside of the bounds of law if I were to fill that void and share information publicly. With all the public pressure being placed on my office, filling the void would not only serve to get pressure off of me. Nolan deserves better. There is no pressure that can be placed on me and no force that is greater than the weight of the oath I took and my responsibility to the people that I have. My obligation and commitment is to present to the grand jury with all the evidence collected, in this case in order for them to reach a decision, and I am obliged to do so in keeping the law and the rules of the court. Now, the bottom piece here I think is really, really important. On July 23rd, 2026, I released a recorded statement explaining the process and what the people of Jackson County elected me to do in this matter. There is nothing more to be shared at this time. I caution the public about assigning trustworthy things and to read what they read and see online. I also ask, rather than individuals demanding that I step outside the grounds, to also allow me to do my job and do what I was elected to do. At the bottom, she says, I stand firmly on the rule of the law and ethical obligation. This is what the people of Jackson County have elected me to do, and I will present to the grand jury a thorough, complete investigation. To me, it looks like Mickelrath is not going to adhere to a joint investigation, but she's also alluding to the fact that maybe some of the information that we're being told by the Wells family attorney and the civil rights attorney, Ben Crump, maybe not all of it is accurate. Maybe not all of it is valid. Maybe not all of it is credible. It does make the wheels turn a little bit. It makes the hamster wheel go a little bit in the squash. What do you guys think?
The woman, Vicky, calls the captain to do the tow. And she says, This kid's grandfather, this Jerry Ackerman, is a member. Before she says the guy's name, the captain says, "Jerry?" I just got off the phone with him. I literally just got off the phone with him. And he said that they don't need a tow, that they're fine. So, hold on. The grandson is calling for the tow simultaneous to the grandfather calling the captain of the towboat saying they don't need a tow before the captain gets a call from Vicky. When did the kid call the grandfather? While the boat is sinking? He called grandfather for what could grandfather possibly do for you? He called the grandfather for advice. What the fuck do we do? This kid's dead. Grandfather said, "You gotta make a fucking trail. That you tried to get help. There was an accident. Something happened. The boat's going under. Okay, it's a boat. Call." So there is a recording of you trying to get help for something. And we'll figure it out later. I think that their story has evolved. But that was what the grandfather thought of then, to create a timestamp in history of what was happening, what they were doing, where they were, and that there was a completely different emergency happening, nothing to do with Nolan, okay? And the grandfather did not want to get billed for this tow, and obviously didn't want the captain to go and happen upon whatever the fuck's going on, so he preempts the emergency call to the captain and says, "Hey, you might get a call, but they don't need it. I walked them through it, it's fine." It was an alibi advised by the grandfather. You remember the Murdoch documentary series? You remember that, right? You remember when his son killed a girl in a boating accident, right? And how they completely jumped into action immediately without skipping a fucking beat to do a cover-up. They all get back, they all wipe all of, in unison, all wipe their social media. Why would you have to do that? Well, why the fuck would you have to do that? If you left him on the island, why are you deleting all of your social media?
Nolan Wells' autopsy took place at the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office Coast Lab. The family, through Ben Crump, also commissioned an independent autopsy. On July 22nd in Chicago, Crump announced the results of that independent review. The finding: Nolan Wells' cause and manner of death were undetermined, pending further investigation. Toxicology results were still outstanding at that time. That word, undetermined, is important. It doesn't confirm foul play. It doesn't confirm an accident. It means the science, as of that point, had not reached a conclusion either way. Both the state's official autopsy and the family's independent one arrived at the same holding pattern.
But if there had been not a blunt force trauma that Officer Tatum is describing, but a fist fight. If there had been a fist fight, plus body in water for multiple days, body decomposition, would you expect to see red marks on the hands at that juncture, on the face? What would you expect if there had been a fisticuffs?
Yeah, you would see, well, first off, above discolored areas, like consistent with contusions. If there are facial strikes or just body blows, you can actually see abraded areas over the surface of his fingers, and these are very subtle sometimes. And if there is decomposition, which we believe there is, particularly per the second autopsy that was performed, He didn't make note of this. And can I go one more step with this? And this is kind of graphic, but people need to understand this. This physician that did the second autopsy actually did what's referred to as a coronal sectioning of the face. So there were multiple incisions made into Nolan's face in this autopsy, this second autopsy. And this guy didn't see anything. He didn't see anything that was of import relative or indicative of blunt force trauma. And I would think that if there was contact, particularly if he's fighting a group of people, these sorts of things, you're going to have injuries probably on the leading edges, or what we refer to as the blade of the arm right here on the forearm, the back of the hands, the knuckles, those points of contact. And certainly if there's facial strikes going on with him, which we find with blunt force trauma many times with fisticuffs, as you say, you'll see these strikes, you'll see marks on the face. There's nothing to indicate that in the second autopsy. Now, what the state has, I don't know, but I do know this. I know they're saying they're done with the autopsy and that it's complete, which means the gross findings in the autopsy room, the tox, the histology, that means that autopsy report is complete. They just hadn't released their findings yet.
And speaking of that, Joe Scott Morgan, I've heard the same, that the autopsy is complete.
Yeah.
There are reports that there is no cocaine in Nolan's system. That's uncorroborated reports.
Okay.
But a good source. No cocaine in the system.
Yep.
Joe Scott, when the body has been in the elements, such as the water, for that long, how can I confirm if he had been drinking or not?
Oh, you can still pull a BA, blood alcohol, or blood ethanol level, as it's referred to. And again, Nancy, we're not talking about someone that has been down for weeks and weeks. We can still do the BA, and it can come from urine, blood. We can still draw urine and find it pretty effectively. You'll have what's referred to as qualitative. We've talked about this before, and I know you understand that, but so our friends understand, you have a qualitative amount, which they say, yes, it is present, and then you have a quantitative amount where they do the measurement of the BAC, the blood alcohol content. Just think about DWI, DUI, wherever you're from, those levels, and then we get up to those lethal levels. That's really what I'm interested in relative. And yeah, I'm interested in any of the other toxicological findings you might have relative to anything illicit or illicit drugs, but particularly with alcohol, because that has been kind of this thing that has been said over and over and over again. Well, let me see it. I want to know what the blood alcohol level was like. And historically, I would like to know what his level of experience has been with alcohol. As you well know, because of cases you've worked on in the past, Nancy, if you're a lightweight, if you've never had anything to drink and you start taking on copious amounts of alcohol, and you're kind of a neophyte in this area, it can have very, very lethal outcomes.
Let me understand. Joe Scott Morgan joining us, star of Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan on YouTube and Death Investigator. When I'm asking you, even if the body's been in the elements for a period of days, can I still get a blood alcohol? Maybe not from urine, but you certainly can't do a blood test, but can you take human tissue from one of the organs and extract a blood alcohol from human tissue?
It'd be very difficult. Generally, the liver is the best candidate. We'll spin that down. We'll take a section of it, spin it down, and liquefy it. But again, I submit to you, Nancy, that
one fact that cannot be separated from how this case has been covered: Nolan Wells was the only black member of his friend group. Photos from the July 4th trip that circulated online showed him surrounded by white friends. That detail didn't create the unanswered questions in this case, but it shaped how the public and national civil rights figures responded to them. Knox President Derek Johnson publicly weighed in, saying it was important to complete a full investigation before speculating on whether Nolan Wells' death was accidental. Ben Crump has repeatedly said the family wants transparency, not assumptions in either direction. At the same time, some of Nolan Wells' friends who were on that trip have received death threats. One man, Joseph Alfredo Vasquez Dumarche of Sacramento, was arrested and charged federally for sending a threatening message to Warren Hudson's mother, Ashley Cole, over Facebook Messenger. He faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted. That's a fact worth sitting with. This case has generated real consequences on more than one side, a family desperate for answers about their son, and private citizens who face threats for being connected to the story at all.
How is this helping the investigation? I'm trying to make sense of so many people online making comments. Now, if this is true, if there is a witness who has a husband with her on the boat and they took a certain amount of video, it could change everything, especially if the video is time stamped. Straight out to veteran trial lawyer, defense attorney Philip Dubay joining me. He's joining us out of LA, formerly in the public defender's office. They try a ton of cases. Philip, first of all, has she turned it into police? She said she was. If she hasn't, I give her no credibility at all. Look, I want this to be true. Why? Because I want the video. I want to see the timestamp on the video. I want to see, was he still on Horn Island at 4:30 when his acquaintances on the Triton boat left? I want that video. And if she hasn't brought this forward to LE, law enforcement, then it means nothing to me. I mean, if I know a young man turns up dead in the water, and I know there's a controversy surrounding this, I mean, we know she knows that because she's gone online and posted it, then why not hand it over to police?
Agreed. Nolan Wells was 18 years old. Nolan Wells had a football scholarship, a family that describes him as someone who always stayed in touch, and a group of friends he'd known since childhood. What actually happened to Nolan Wells in his final hours on that island is still not fully known, not to his family, not to the public, and based on the sheriff's own public statements, not entirely to investigators either. That's the honest answer. Not the most dramatic one, but it's the one backed by what's actually been confirmed, on the record, by the people with authority over this case. We'll keep tracking this the moment there's a real update, not a rumor, not a leak, an actual confirmed development. If you want the facts the moment the grand jury decision comes down,
the teen
follow
college
now so
football
you don't miss
players'
it. And comment Nolan
mysterious
below
death,
so his name keeps
they were
showing up
issued
in
in the
this
last
algorithm the way
24
it should.
hours,
See you in the
including
next update.
Snapchat,